Hi there, welcome back to the VMO YouTube channel. This is Jansen. Okay, so the dongle rig. I know we've been here before more than once and some people are perhaps getting tired of it, but I've got another variation to show you today. This is not going to suit everyone. It's for a very specific need. It's something I've been using for the last couple of years and I found it to be quite effective. I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. Let's take a closer look at it now. So yeah, yet another variation of the dongle rig, and you might well have seen this before, or certainly something similar to this anyway. So you can see I've got the circle hook there, the 4.0 Varivas full circle, which is my go-to circle hook, on a perfection loop, but on the end of the braided section coming off of the circle hook, we've got another hook. So as I've said from the off, this is for a very limited use. It's not something you're going to use all the time. The whole idea of using the circle hook, or certainly one of the ideas, one of the benefits, is that you can get a lip hooked fish. Most of the time your fish are going to be hooked in the lip. Obviously with two hooks, there's less chance of that happening. The other benefit of using the dongle rig is the fact that you're only using the one hook. So if you're fishing over rough ground, there's less chance of getting snagged up. So why have I tied what some people might think is a bit of a monstrosity? Well, to be quite honest with you, when you're using worm baits, the dongle has never been great for presenting them. You can, of course, whip your worm baits onto the dongle. And if I'm fishing in the winter for codling, I'd be quite happy to whip a couple of black lug onto the dongle, the loop's at the end, the loop clips onto the bait clip, onto your impact lead, your imp, your splashdown solo clip, whatever you're using, job's a good one. But it doesn't present the worm in a very attractive way. Now, I decided to play around with this concept simply because if I'm fishing for species of fish such as plaice, flounder, sole, that kind of thing, but there's also the chance of a better fish coming along, I wanted to be able to present the bait in a more conventional manner. So there's my Aberdeen hook. I can slide my worms up over the hook, up over the braid in that conventional fashion that we're used to. But if a fish such as a bass comes along, it can take in the whole lot and it'll get hooked on the circle hook. So what we've got in effect here is a rig which covers all bases. Your flounder, your plaice, your sole, your flatfish, your smaller species of fish, you can present a bait that looks natural and attractive. If water clarity is there, of course, in the Bristol Channel, we've got next to no water clarity. It doesn't make a great deal of difference, but it is still nice to be able to present that worm bait running up the snood, over the hook, as we always have done. If a bass comes along, it engulfs the whole lot, it gets lip hooked. You might look at this and just think to yourself, well, why not just use a pennel rig? Yeah, good question. You could use a pennel rig, yeah. What I like about this is the fact that you've got your bait stop there. That is your bait stop, okay? Your worms are threaded over the hook, up the braided section, on the cast. They cannot go beyond that hook. It's physically impossible. So that's one benefit of using this rig. The other benefit is bait presentation in general. With a pennel rig, when you twist that top hook around, even if you put tubing on it, it doesn't sit particularly great in my opinion. I think this actually presents the bait a lot neater and it certainly clips down on a rig a lot better than a conventional pennel rig would. Now I fully accept this is not a rig for everyone and it's certainly not a rig for everyday use, and it does kind of go against the whole concept of using the dongle rig in the first instance. But it does have its place. I can get a good bunch of lugworm on there, and on some of the shallow beaches here in the Bristol Channel, that's a prime bass bait. I've got that top hook there, which will pick up the bass, and I've obviously got the main Aberdeen hook to pick up the flounder and the sole. So it's a kind of a compromise between the two. It's not a dongle rig as such, and it's not a conventional rig. You could fish this on a pulley rig, you could fish it on a fixed paternoster, or you could fish it on a running ledger. It's entirely up to you. But all I'm interested in today for the purpose of this video is the arrangement of those hooks. So, like I say, not one for everyone, but certainly something perhaps to think about in your armoury and worth giving it a go. So that was a tackle talk on another variation of the dongle rig. Honestly, we could do this subject to death. There's lots of different variations out there at the moment. People love to experiment with their end tackle and see what works best for them. I've been using this one for a little while now and I'm still using it, getting my head around it, but it's always good to look at these things and figure out where we can take them. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and I'll catch you again.